I want to welcome you guys to this very, very quick Project 100 Words That Works training. We've just wanted to just round everybody up and make this thing super simplified because honestly, this business is pretty much as easy as one, two, three. All we do in this business is we get on the Financial Edge membership, we get we invite people to take a look at what we do. And then we teach the people that want to do what we do how to get on the Financial Edge membership and invite people to take a look at what we do. And so before I get started, how's everyone doing?
Good, good.
Great.
Awesome, awesome. I mean, I wanted to get this small group together because honestly, it's not what works, it's what duplicates. And what I want to teach you guys is the words that work. Now, I'm not saying the other words don't work, but as you guys that whether if you first this is your first time meeting me, I don't tell people what to do, but I always share with people what I'm doing. And so all I'm going to do is point to some things that I want to make you aware of. First of which is we have a Facebook group. It's the Project 100 Financial Movement Facebook group. And as a matter of fact, that this group has everything a person would need when they get started. And what I mean by that is, even right now, if I look in media and I look at videos, you might see some familiar faces because this is being recorded as we speak. And so, guys, when you first get started and when we help people get started, we should help them immediately to this group because when we do, they can get our roadmap to making wealth real on their very first day. And they can see these types of videos on how to use the roadmap as well as how to use the words that work. Now, when you get to the site and you click announcements, you'll learn some very simple things that we do. First is how to host your grand opening. Now, let me show you how to use this because this is what we've done. We put the steps here, they're going to be above the picture. Then the steps are going to point you to the language. Here's what I urge you to do: go copy and paste the language into the notes section or the memo section on your phone so that you always have the language for each situation. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
it makes sense to one person. That's great. All right, so here, like for instance, it says schedule your two grand openings. That's step one within 48 hours and 7 days of today. So meaning if within 48 hours, you should invite a bunch of people to see this. And the ones that say, hey man, goodness, I wish I'd have known about this. When's your next one? This is short notice. You'll have another one as a follow up. Second thing you want to do is list the 15 sharpest people you believe would kill this business if they saw it. Third thing you want to do is list the 15 closest people you believe would kill you if you did well, but you didn't share it with them.
Mm.
See, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is number one, they take it to the brokest people they know first, trying to get them in.
Facts.
God,
Mm.
broke people don't understand why you coming to them.
Right.
They're like, wait a second, why you coming to me and I'm your nephew, but you didn't go to your brother? You know he has more money than me. Why would you bypass him and come to me? And now I'm skeptical. Is this making
Right.
sense?
Yes. Yes.
And so, whether it's the most successful people in your family, whether it's the most successful people at your job, whether it's the most successful people in your neighborhood, the most successful people you know should see this first. Is this making sense?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I've always called it the board of directors. If Oprah and Bill Gates and anybody else you know wealthy came to you and said, you know what, we want to invest in you, but before we do, we need to know who your board of directors are. Who would be those 15 people you would call first so that you can impress that board so that you can get this investment? And the
Gotcha.
mistake most people make is they take this business to the very opposite of that. And the reason why most people do that is because it's only 228 to get started. And so if you're not careful, you may not treat it like the multi-million-dollar business that it is because you only invested 228. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then the second biggest mistake I see people make is not sharing it with the people closest to them because they're afraid of what they'll say. Is this making sense?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, some people have rented space in our heads for free for decades. And it's time for us to move them out and share this with them. And see, here's the thing. Could you imagine being that person that watches their friend or their family member blow up? And I've been talking to you every day and you didn't share it with me? Why wouldn't you give this to me?
Right.
Is this making sense?
Yes.
And so that's why we start with those two lists. Now, once we do, we text, we inbox, we call, and we catch up with them. Guys, this is 2021. Got a lot of stuff going on out there in the world. We have to check up on people. We have to find out, how are you? And then when you're done catching up, you transition by using the first comment below. Well, what's the first comment? That's when you go here. Listen. Everybody repeat after me. This is gonna be hard, I know. Everybody say listen.
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 That was very good. That was much better than I thought. See, when you start a sentence with listen, you know what people do?
Hey, listen.
Listen.
They actually listen. And they're hoping what you say next is deep or at least dope. And so here's the thing you're gonna say. I've added another stream of income recently. Have you ever heard of income shifting? Uh-oh, some of y'all look like that was hard. All right, let's practice. Everybody say, I've added another stream of income recently.
I've added
Another
another stream of
income
income
recently.
Have you ever heard of income shifting?
Have you ever heard of income shifting?
You're only going to get 3 responses to that. No. No, what's that? Oh, hell. Depending on who you are and what you've done, you may get one of those 3 responses. Just make it sense.
Right. Yeah.
True.
Now, no is simply the answer to your question. No, what is it? Is the answer and an inquisition. Those 2 get the same response. All hell gets no response. That person might be skeptical. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Because we may have approached them with something in the past, and when we did, they didn't necessarily like the result of that. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
It's okay. There's still a way to get to that person as well, but that might not be the time to go on to the next thing. So what's the next thing? Funny you should ask. Let's go back and see what number 5 is. Number 5 says, after their response, send an invitation to your next private Zoom only with the second comment below. Now, here's what I want to caution. Some of you guys don't like talking to people. I get it. That's why the first thing you see in number 4 is text. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of you still don't like talking to people. I get it. That's why the second thing I do, so I text people at like 9 or 10 in the morning. The second thing I do is whoever hasn't texted me back by noon, I inbox them on social media. Because how many of you guys know some people that are easier to catch up with on social media than on their actual phone?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've actually at times been that guy. And then the next thing I do is then after work, like normally around 6, I call who's left. So now I don't have a whole lot of calls to make. I only have to call who's left. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now put this in your notes. If I text you, inbox you, and call you, and you don't hit me back, the next time I'm going to reach out to you is after my next promotion. Because our focus is to help you get 3 business partners so you can become an executive director and be paid more leadership bonus, and 1 customer minimum so that you can start earning $5 a day or $150 a month guaranteed. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're not going back to these folks until we've accomplished those things because they don't know how to return a call, a text, or an inbox. They're going through something right now. This is not their time. And so keeping it that simple, once they responded, send an invitation to your next private Zoom. But if you haven't scheduled one, can you send that invitation?
Nope.
No.
So now you're going to be able to say everyone should learn these strategies that move more money. Now, here's the thing. I don't want you saying this. I want you texting this. Uh-oh. So somebody's like, wow, that's a lot to say. I want you to catch this. The key to the first question, have you ever heard of income shifting? Is to shoot them a text. You can say the first part. That's why we all said it together. Is this making sense?
Yes.
How do I do that, Sean, if I'm sitting next to them all day at work? Here's the key. Always do it while you're leaving. So if we're on the phone, when we're about to get off the phone, I'm going to tell you, oh, by the way, I just started it. But if you ask me how I'm doing, I'm going to say I recently started a new stream of income. Have you ever heard of income shifting? And then when you say, well, no, well, what is it? Listen, I'll shoot you some information. I'll text you some information on it. I don't want to, everybody repeat after me. I don't want to mess it up.
I don't
I
want
don't want to mess it up.
I'm going to tell you guys, you'll get further with honesty than trying to be professional. Nothing wrong with being professional. Nothing wrong with being excellent. But until you're excellent, the best thing you can be is honest. Listen, I'm new. I don't want to mess this up. I'm going to shoot you a text and connect you with someone. I'm going to shoot you a text and invite you to something. Always defer to the text when you can, because if you start answering questions, you become the expert. And eventually the question they're going to ask is, well, how well is this going for you? And if you're new, that's a very hard question to answer. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
And we don't want you guys to compromise your integrity trying to make it sound great for them. And so keeping it that simple, you text them this. Everyone should learn the strategy. And I want you to go read it. So I'm not reading it to you. I just want you to know it's available. You're going to speak highly of another individual and tell them that they're going to be having an income shifting conversation with a group of my family and friends on Tuesday at 6 Eastern. Can you tap in and learn income shifting with us? How many of you guys can become excellent at asking people, can you come learn with us?
I can.
Yes.
Let me tell you guys a clue. Nobody wants to join another company. Nobody wants to start a business per se, but everybody, especially right now in the midst of a pandemic, wants to learn as much as they can on how to become better. One of the number one growth area in this country is people teaching online. Is this making sense?
Right.
All types of programs they're teaching. And so keeping it that simple, guys, when you look back at what it is that we're doing, after their response and you invite them, if they can't commit, offer the second private Zoom date. That's why it's important to have two. Most people don't want to tell you no more than once. Is this making sense?
Yes.
They don't want to say, I can't come to that one, I can't come to the next one, and I can't. Nobody wants to do that. And so always have the second one ready. And so when they say they can't make it, understood. Hey, Miss Sampson will be sharing with another group of my family and friends on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Does that time work better for you? Remember, you're just copying and pasting this either in a text or a social media message. Is this making sense to everybody?
Yes.
It does.
Now, I will admit, if I'm on the phone with somebody, I'll just pull this up and read it to them. You do it enough, it doesn't even sound like you're reading. You read it enough, you'll just start saying it. You can't stop saying it, as a matter of fact. And so once they've committed, the sixth thing we do is we send an invitation to the income shifting conversation they chose with the fourth comment. Are you guys tracking? Are y'all seeing what I'm showing you?
Yeah.
And so the fourth comment is the invitation. Come join our income shifting conversation on Tuesday at 6. via, and you put the Zoom link here. Guys, delete the parentheses. Let's say, and then you just text them this. Well, all you have to change is the day, the time, and the Zoom link. Making sense so far?
Yes.
Yes.
And then the seventh thing is you send a three-way text introduction with that one prospect. Don't add everybody in it. Do it one-on-one. And your expert for the confirmation, using the confirmation script. Now that they've committed to something, now you introduce them. How are you, Miss Sampson? Please meet my cousin Dietrich. He's looking to learn more about income shifting with us on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And I told him you're the best person to connect with. And Deidre will know exactly what to text him. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that part, honestly, is optional. You don't have to do the three-way invitation. But if a person is somewhat wishy-washy in their response, I usually get a third party to confirm. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody doesn't like to understand. Somebody asked me why.
Why?
is that?
Because if you're my friend, I'll tell you I'm coming even if I'm not sure. Because I know when I no show and I don't call you, you'll still be my friend. But I don't know who Miss Sampson knows. So if I commit to her, I'm more likely to show up committing to a stranger.
Yes.
I know it's not right, but you guys want to be right or you want to be rich?
Rich.
Right.
I'd
Me
like
too.
to have considerable more.
And so here's what's exciting about that. Now it's you and another person that's doing it. So that's how you launch your home party. Now, for those of you that are like, okay, well, I launched my first two Zooms. I've invited my closest. I've invited my sharpest. Now it's just people that I'm acquaintances with, people that I maybe have not been in contact with in a minute, people that I'm just really getting to know. What do I do with them? Well, that's the next section. It's all right there. You're going to use what's called form, meaning you're going to have a conversation with them. You see, write this in your notes. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. And so it's very rare that I come across somebody. You guys saw a little while ago. I saw a good friend of ours that I hadn't seen in years, decades, as a matter of fact. First thing I asked him was, "How's my sis?" This is his wife. I'm great friends with their family. Is this making sense?
Yes.
It is.
You know, and here's the thing. Even when I'm meeting people new, I ask them, "Where are you from?" And then I ask them, "Well, what brought you there?" Most of the time, it's either family or what they do for a living that took them to where they live. How many of you guys know people that have moved places because they have family there?
Yes.
Yeah.
And do you guys know other people that have moved places because they had work there?
Yes.
Yes.
And then I ask, well, what do you do? How long have you been doing that? You know, I ask questions. Guys, write this in your notes. The person that asks the most questions wins every conversation. Every conversation. Because it's not the person that's the most interesting, it's the one that's the most interested that people like. I am interested in learning about other people. And when you're doing that, people share with you exactly what you need to share with them. I ask questions like, well, do you get back home to see your family as often as you want to? No? Really? What's stopping you from doing that? And they normally share a source of dissatisfaction. What do you do? How long have you done it? Is it what you've always wanted to do? No? What have you always wanted to do? Really? What's stopping you from doing that?
Mm,
Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you do?
yes.
Recreation. What do you do for fun? Awesome. How long have you been doing that? Nice. How often do you get to do it? Really? Is that as often as you want to do it? No? How often do you want to do it? Wow. What's stopping you from doing that? And a lot of people say motivation. I usually put money. So what are you doing for extra streams of income nowadays? Nothing? Have you ever heard of income shifting? Now, here's the key though. It's not a setup. This is a conversation. I genuinely want to get to know people. And if it doesn't lead to an income shifting conversation, I'm good with that. But how many of you guys understand that's somebody I'm a little closer to than I was before that conversation?
Yes.
Is this making sense so far?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
But here's what I also know about people. Most people are good. And most people are not going to allow you to be that interested in them without them at least asking you a question about how you're doing. And when they do, what you need to become excellent at is helping them understand that you're excited because you recently started an extra stream of income. Have you ever heard of income shifting? Does this make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
So, guys, that's all that is. For the rest of your professional career, it should be about making a list. I always say, I do a list of 50 every week, and my goal is to just reach out to the 50 every week. Whatever size list you want to make, on whatever time basis you want to do, you do that. I don't set people's goals for them. What I do is when you tell me what you're doing, I can share with you how fast you'll get to your goal doing it that way. But I don't set people's goals. You do what you can handle and stretch yourself a little bit. Because, the only difference between ordinary and extraordinary is always that little extra. It's making sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so then again, I text, I inbox, I call, I catch up with them using form. Because now it's just not the people I talk to all the time or the sharpest people I know, it's everybody else. When you're done catching up, you transition by using the first comment. Well, what's the first comment? By the way, have you ever heard of income shifting? All right, time to practice. Everybody repeat after me. Y'all ready? Y'all ready?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, by the way.
By the way.
By the way,
Okay, I'm gonna need y'all to start working together. Let's try it
I was
again.
waiting for the
By
whole
the way.
sentence.
Okay.
By the way.
Now we're gonna break it up. By the way,
By the way.
have you ever heard of income shifting?
Have you ever heard of income shifting?
shifting?
That's all we do, guys. I promise you. I know it feels elementary, but guess what? It's not the person that comes up with the science that wins the most. It's normally the person that pays them. It's not the person that stays in the gym all night that makes the most. It's the person that pays them. It wasn't the person that came up with it and figured out electricity. It's the person that put the electricity system in place that we remember. People think Bell created the phone. No, Bell created the phone system. It's see, wealthy people create systems while everyone else looks for work. Our
Wow.
only job in this business is to keep this thing as simple as possible so that we can help thousands of people do it so we no longer have to do it. Does this make sense?
Right.
yes.
And so once you use form and you get into the introduction, everything else is pretty much the same. The difference with this one is this conversation allows you to connect, and instead of connecting them to something that you already have planned, you can connect them to your expert, and your expert will share what they have planned. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so this shows you this third script shows you how to make the introduction. How are you, Miss Tyson? Please meet my cousin Yolanda. She's looking to learn more about income shifting, and I told her you're the best person to connect with. And then Yolanda knows exactly what to send to invite Joletta to the next thing. Joletta knows what to send to invite Yolanda to the next thing. And so that's two scenarios, right?
Right.
So now you know how to host your private Zoom. Now you know how to do business all the time and convert any conversation you're having. But then there's another thing that we do that makes business really simple as well. And I want you guys to do it today. Matter of fact, you can do it today. Matter of fact, you know what I think you should do? Do it today. And that's, I want you to post and launch your social media business today. This heart has gotten me more new friends and reconnected me. Remember those people that were like, oh, hell.
Mhm.
Those people responded to this heart and got started. We have different memes, though, that we'll share with you over time, but I want you to understand the process. When you post anything on social media and you get a response like me, so here's the first clue. If you're not posting things that would have people respond me, stop posting. Well, how do you get people to respond me? Well, when you upload things to your social media timeline, this in this case Facebook, you want to use the first comment. But what's the first comment, Sean? Oh, simply reply me and I'll send you the info. That's the first comment. I know it's not deep. It
Mhm.
was anticlimactic. I told you I'm not trying to be deep. I want to be wealthy. I want to be flat out wealthy with simple systems, right?
That's
Well,
right.
then when people do reply me, this is the difference between me and most. I contact them in Facebook Messenger. And what do I say to them in Facebook Messenger? Well, I say, well, hey, Aletta, I'll definitely get you connected with our private group. Have you ever heard of income shifting? Does that sound familiar to everybody?
It
Yep.
does.
Here's the point I
Yes.
want you to get. I don't care how you get them to the income shifting conversation. Just get them to the income shifting conversation. That's all we did to have the success that we had out the gate. We didn't send them to websites because everybody sends people to websites. We invited them to our income shifting conversations to see you guys' beautiful faces so that they want to be a part of what we were doing. Does this make sense?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then once I reply to them in the private group, understand everybody doesn't check their messenger or have notifications from their messenger. And so what you want to do is when you go back to their me response and click reply under the me, and then you tell them, hey, Aletta, check your Facebook Messenger ASAP. And then they go check it, and then they text you. Then they have the conversation with you. Is this making sense?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's just the same conversation. It's just the same conversation. I just wanted to point you guys to these things to let you know they exist. They're out there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this training so that we can have it as a recording that we can use and give to our new partners when they join. But I'll stick around for any questions that you have. Fair enough?
Yep.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Awesome. Awesome and awesome. Thanks for your time. Was that worth your time?
It was. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. My pleasure.